Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير.
Blessed is he in whose hand is the dominion of the universe and who has power over everything.
الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور.
Who created death and life, that he might try you as to which of you is better indeed. He is the most mighty, the most forgiving.
الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فتور.
Who created the 7 heavens one upon another, you will see no incongruity in the Merciful One's creation. Turn your vision again, can you see any flaw?
ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير.
Then turn your vision again, and then again. In the end, your vision will come back to you worn out and frustrated.
ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
We have adorned the lower heaven with lamps and have made them a means to drive away the Satans. We have prepared for them the chastisement of the blazing fire.
وَلِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمَ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ.
The chastisement of hell awaits those who disbelieve in their Lord. What a wretched destination!
إِذَا أُلْقُوا فِيهَا سَمِعُوا لَهَا شَهِيقًا وَهِيَ تَفُورُ.
When they will be cast into it, they will hear it roar as it boils.
تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
As though it will burst with rage. Every time a multitude is cast into it, its keepers will ask them, "Did no warner come to you?"
قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير.
They will say, "Yes, a warner came to us, but we gave the lie to him and said, Allah has revealed nothing. You are surely in huge error."
وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير.
They will say, "If we had only listened and understood, we would not be among the inmates of the blazing fire."
فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسحقا لأصحاب السعير.
Thus will they confess their sins. Damned are these inmates of the blazing fire.
إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير.
Surely, forgiveness and a mighty reward await those who fear Allah without seeing Him.
وأسروا قولكم أو اجهروا به إنه عليم بذات الصدور.
Whether you speak in secrecy or aloud, it is all the same to Allah. He even knows the secrets that lie hidden in the breasts of people.
ألا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير.
Would he not know he who has created when he is all subtle, all aware?
هو الذي جعل لكم الأرض ذلولا فامشوا في مناكبها وكلوا من رزقه وإليه النشور.
He it is who made the earth subservient to you, so traverse in its tracks and partake of the sustenance he has provided. To him will you be resurrected.
أأمنتم من في السماء أن يخسف بكم الأرض فإذا هي تمور.
Do you feel secure that he who is in the heaven will not cause the earth to cave in with you, and then suddenly it will begin to rock violently?
أم أمنتم من في السماء أن يرسل عليكم حاصبا فستعلمون كيف نذير.
Do you feel secure that he who is in the heaven will not let loose upon you a storm of stones? Then shall you know what my warning is like.
ولقد كذب الذين من قبلهم فكيف كان نكير.
Those who came before them also gave the lie to the messengers. Then how awesome was my chastisement.
أولم يروا إلى الطير فوقهم صافات ويقبض ما يمسكهن إلا الرحمن إنه بكل شيء بصير.
Have they not seen birds above them spreading and closing their wings, with none holding them except the merciful one? He oversees everything.
أمن هذا الذي هو جند لكم ينصركم من دون الرحمن إن الكافرون إلا في غرور.
Which is your army that will come to your aid against the merciful Lord? But the unbelievers are in utter delusion.
أمن هذا الذي يرزقكم إن أمسك رزقه بل لجوا في عتو ونفور.
Who shall provide for you if he withholds his sustenance? Nay, but they persist in rebellion and aversion.
أفمن يمشي مكبا على وجهه أهدى أمن يمشي سويا على صراط مستقيم.
Who is better guided, he who walks groveling on his face, or he who walks upright on a straight path?
قل هو الذي أنشأكم وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون.
Say, he it is who has brought you into being, and has given you hearing and sight, and has given you hearts to think and understand. How seldom do you give thanks?
قل هو الذي ذرأكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون.
Say, Allah it is who multiplied you in the earth, and to him you will be mustered.
ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين.
They say, if you are truthful, tell us when will this promise of the hereafter be fulfilled?
قل إنما العلم عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين.
Say, Allah alone knows about that, and I am no more than a plain warner.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون.
When they will see it near at hand, the faces of all those who had denied it will be distraught, and then they will be told, this is the doom which you used to ask for.
قل أرأيتم إن أهلكني الله ومن معي أو رحمنا فمن يجير الكافرين من عذاب أليم.
Say to them, did you ever consider whether Allah destroys me and those that are with me, or shows mercy to us? Who can protect the unbelievers from a grievous chastisement?
قل هو الرحمن آمنا به وعليه توكلنا فستعلمون من هو في ضلال مبين.
Say to them, He is merciful, and it is in Him that we believe, and it is in Him that we put all our trust. Soon will you know who is in manifest error.
قل أرأيتم إن أصبح ماؤكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء معين.
Say to them, did you even consider if all the water that you have in the wells were to sink down into the depths of the earth? Who will produce for you clear, flowing water?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
نون والقلم وما يسطرون.
Noon, by the pen and what the scribes write.
ما أنت بنعمة ربك بمجنون.
By your Lord's grace, you are not afflicted with madness.
وإن لك لأجرا غير ممنون.
And surely yours shall be a never-ending reward.
وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم.
And you are certainly on the most exalted standard of moral excellence.
فستبصر ويبصرون.
So you will soon see, and they too will see.
بأيكم المفتون.
Which of you is afflicted with madness?
إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين.
Surely your Lord knows well those who have strayed from His way, just as He knows well those who are on the right way.
فلا تطع المكذبين.
Do not then yield to those who reject the truth, decrying it as false.
ودوا لو تدهن فيدهنون.
They would wish you to be pliant, so that they too may be pliant.
ولا تطع كل حلاف مهين.
And do not yield to any contemptible swearer.
هماز مشاء بنميم.
The fault finder who goes around slandering.
مناع للخير معتد أثيم.
The hinderer of good, the transgressor, the sinful.
عتل بعد ذلك زنيم.
The coarse-grained, and above all mean and ignoble.
أن كان ذا مال وبنين.
Whoso acts simply because he has wealth and sons.
إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين.
And whenever our verses are rehearsed to him, he says, these are fairy tales of times gone by.
سنسمه على الخرطوم.
Soon shall we brand him on his snout.
إنا بلوناهم كما بلونا أصحاب الجنة إذ أقسموا ليصرمنها مصبحين.
We've put them, that is the Meccans, to test, even as we put to test the owners of the orchard, when they vowed that they would gather the fruit of their orchard in the morning.
ولا يستثنون.
without making any allowance for the will of Allah.
فطاف عليها طائف من ربك وهم نائمون.
Thereupon a calamity from your Lord passed over it while they were asleep.
فأصبحت كالصريم.
And so by morning the orchard lay as though it had been fully harvested.
فتنادوا مصبحين.
At daybreak they called out to one another,
أن اغدوا على حرثكم إن كنتم صارمين.
Hurry to your orchard if you would gather its fruit.
فانطلقوا وهم يتخافتون.
So off they went, whispering to one another,
ألا يدخلنها اليوم عليكم مسكين.
No destitute person shall enter it today.
وغدوا على حرد قادرين.
They went forth early, believing that they had the power to gather the fruit.
فلما رأوها قالوا إنا لضالون.
But as soon as they beheld the orchard, they cried out, "We have certainly lost the way.
بل نحن محرومون.
Rather, we are utterly ruined."
قال أوسطهم ألم أقل لكم لولا تسبحون.
The best among them said, "Did I not say to you, why do you not give glory to your Lord?"
قالوا سبحان ربنا إنا كنا ظالمين.
They cried out, "Glory be to our Lord, certainly we were sinners."
فأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتلاومون.
Then they began to reproach one another.
قالوا يا ويلنا إنا كنا طاغين.
They said, "Woe to us, we had indeed transgressed.
عسى ربنا أن يبدلنا خيرا منها إنا إلى ربنا راغبون.
Maybe our Lord will give us a better orchard in its place. To our Lord do we penitently turn."
كذلك العذاب ولعذاب الآخرة أكبر لو كانوا يعلمون.
Such is the chastisement, and the chastisement of the hereafter is assuredly even greater if only they knew.
إن للمتقين عند ربهم جنات النعيم.
Surely the God-fearing shall have gardens of bliss with their Lord.
أفنجعل المسلمين كالمجرمين.
What? Shall we treat those who have submitted to our command like those who have acted as criminals?
ما لكم كيف تحكمون.
What is the matter with you? How ill do you judge?
أم لكم كتاب فيه تدرسون.
Or do you have a book wherein you read,
إن لكم فيه لما تخيرون.
that in the hereafter you shall have all that you choose for yourselves?
أم لكم أيمان علينا بالغة إلى يوم القيامة إن لكم لما تحكمون.
Or have we sworn a covenant with you, which we are bound to keep till the day of resurrection, a covenant requiring that whatever you ordain for yourselves shall be yours?
سلهم أيهم بذلك زعيم.
Ask them, which of them can guarantee that?
أم لهم شركاء فليأتوا بشركائهم إن كانوا صادقين.
Or has something been guaranteed by any of those whom they associate with Allah in His divinity? If so, let them bring forth their associates, if they are truthful.
يوم يكشف عن ساق ويدعون إلى السجود فلا يستطيعون.
On the day when the dreadful calamity will unfold, when people will be summoned to prostrate themselves, and yet they will not be able to prostrate.
خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة وقد كانوا يدعون إلى السجود وهم سالمون.
Their eyes shall be downcast, and ignominy shall overwhelm them. For when they were safe and sound, they were summoned to prostrate themselves, and they refused.
فذرني ومن يكذب بهذا الحديث سنستدرجهم من حيث لا يعلمون.
So leave me, O Prophet, to deal with him who gives the lie to this discourse. We shall draw them little by little to their undoing in a way that they will not know.
وأملي لهم إن كيدي متين.
I am giving them a respite. Great is my scheme.
أم تسألهم أجرا فهم من مغرم مثقلون.
Or are you asking them for some compensation so that they feel burdened with debt?
أم عندهم الغيب فهم يكتبون.
Or do they have any knowledge of the unseen which they are now writing down?
فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تكن كصاحب الحوت إذ نادى وهو مكذوم.
So bear with patience until the judgment of your Lord comes, and do not be like the man in the fish, that is Jonah, who called out choking with grief.
لولا أن تداركه نعمة من ربه لنبذ بالعراء وهو مذموم.
Had his Lord not bestowed his favor upon him, he would have been cast upon that barren shore and would have remained there in disgrace.
فاجتباه ربه فجعله من الصالحين.
But his Lord exalted him and included him among his righteous servants.
وإن يكاد الذين كفروا ليزلقونك بأبصارهم لما سمعوا الذكر ويقولون إنه لمجنون.
When the unbelievers hear this exhortation, they look at you as though they would knock you off your feet with their hostile glances. They say, surely he is afflicted with madness.
وما هو إلا ذكر للعالمين.
Although this is nothing but an exhortation to goodness for everyone in the world.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
الحاقة.
The indubitable event.
ما الحاقة.
And what is that indubitable event?
وما أدراك ما الحاقة.
And what do you know what that indubitable event is?
كذبت ثمود وعاد بالقارعة.
The Thamud and the Ad denied the possibility of a sudden calamity, calling it false.
فأما ثمود فأهلكوا بالطاغية.
Then the Thamud were destroyed by an awesome upheaval.
وأما عاد فأهلكوا بريح صرصر عاتية.
And the Ad were destroyed by a furiously raging windstorm.
سخرها عليهم 7 ليال و8 أيام حسوما فترى القوم فيها صرعا. كأنهم أعجاز نخل خاوية,
which he let loose upon them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession, so that if you had been there, you might have seen people lying prostrate as though they were uprooted trunks of hollowed palm trees.
فهل ترى لهم من باقية,
Do you now see any trace of them?
وجاء فرعون ومن قبله والمؤتفكات بالخاطئة,
Pharaoh and those before him and the people of the overturned habitations all engaged in the same great sin.
فعصوا رسول ربهم فأخذهم أخذة رابية,
They did not follow the messenger of their Lord, and so he seized them with a severe grip.
إنا لما طغى الماء حملناكم في الجارية,
Verily, when the water rose to great heights, we bore you upon a floating vessel, that is the ark,
لنجعلها لكم تذكرة وتعيها أذن واعية,
so that we might make it an instructive event for you and retentive ears might preserve its memory.
فإذا نفخ في الصور نفخة واحدة,
So when the trumpet is blown with a single blast,
وحملت الأرض والجبال فدكتا دكة واحدة,
and the earth and the mountains are carried aloft and are crushed to bits at one stroke,
فيومئذ وقعت الواقعة,
on that day shall the indubitable event come to pass.
وانشقت السماء فهي يومئذ واهية,
When the sky will be rent asunder, the grip holding it together having loosened on that day,
والملك على أرجائها ويحمل عرش ربك فوقهم يومئذ ثمانية,
and the angels will stand on the sides with 8 of them bearing aloft the throne of your Lord on that day.
يومئذ تعرضون لا تخفى منكم خافية,
That will be the day when you shall be brought forth before Allah, and no secret of yours shall remain hidden.
فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه فيقول هاؤم اقرءوا كتابيه,
On that day, he whose record is given to him in his right hand will say, Lo, read my record.
إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابيه,
Verily, I was sure that I would be handed over my account.
فهو في عيشة راضية,
Then he shall find himself in a life of bliss,
في جنة عالية,
in a lofty garden,
قطوفها دانية,
the clusters of whose fruit will be hanging low to be within reach of the inmates of paradise.
كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما أسلفتم في الأيام الخالية,
They will be told, Eat and drink with good cheer, as a reward for the good deeds you did in the days that have passed by.
وأما من أوتي كتابه بشماله فيقول يا ليتني لم أوت كتابيه,
As for him whose record will be given to him in his left hand, he will exclaim, Would that I had never been given my record,
ولم أدر ما حسابيه,
and had not known my account.
يا ليتها كانت القاضية,
Oh, would that the death that came to me in the world had made an end of me.
ما أغنى عني مالية
My riches have not availed me,
هلك عني سلطانية
and my authority has vanished.
خذوه فغلوه
A command will be issued. Seize him and shackle him.
ثم الجحيم صلوه
Then cast him in the fire.
ثم في سلسلة ذرعها 70 ذراعا فاسلكوه
Then fasten him with a chain 70 cubits long.
إنه كان لا يؤمن بالله العظيم
He would not believe in Allah, the Most Great,
ولا يحض على طعام المسكين
nor would he urge the feeding of the poor.
فليس له اليوم هاهنا حميم
Today he has been left here friendless,
ولا طعام إلا من غسلين
and has no food except the filth from the washing of wounds,
لا يأكله إلا الخاطئون
which only the sinners will eat.
فلا أقسم بما تبصرون
But no, I swear by what you see,
وما لا تبصرون
and by what you do not see.
إنه لقول رسول كريم
That this is the speech of an honorable messenger,
وما هو بقول شاعر قليلا ما تؤمنون
not the speech of a poet. Little do you believe.
ولا بقول كاهن قليلا ما تذكرون
Nor is this the speech of a soothsayer. Little do you reflect.
تنزيل من رب العالمين
It has been revealed by the Lord of the universe.
ولو تقول علينا بعض الأقاويل
And if he, that is the Prophet, had forged this discourse and thereafter ascribed it to us,
لأخذنا منه باليمين
we would surely have seized him by the right hand,
ثم لقطعنا منه الوتين
and then severed his life vein.
فما منكم من أحد عنه حاجزين
And not one of you would have been able to withhold us from doing so.
وإنه لتذكرة للمتقين
Surely it is a good counsel for the God-fearing,
وإنا لنعلم أن منكم مكذبين
we certainly know that some among you will give the lie to it,
وإنه لحسرة على الكافرين
and surely it will be a cause of regret for the unbelievers,
وإنه لحق اليقين
certainly it is a truth of absolute certainty.
فسبح باسم ربك العظيم
So glorify the name of your Lord, most great.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
سأل سائل بعذاب واقع
A beseecher besought the visitation of chastisement.
للكافرين ليس له دافع
A chastisement meant for the unbelievers, one which none can avert.
من الله ذي المعارج
A chastisement from Allah, the Lord of the ascending steps.
تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة.
By which the angels and the Spirit ascend to him in one day, the duration of which is 50,000 years.
فاصبر صبرا جميلا.
So, O Prophet, persevere with gracious perseverance.
إنهم يرونه بعيدا.
Verily, they think that the chastisement is far off,
ونراه قريبا.
while we think that it is near at hand.
يوم تكون السماء كالمهل.
It shall befall on a day whereon the sky will become like molten brass,
وتكون الجبال كالعهن.
and the mountains will become like dyed tufts of wool,
ولا يسأل حميم حميما.
and no bosom friend will inquire about any of his bosom friends.
يبصرونهم يود المجرم لو يفتدي من عذاب يومئذ ببنيه.
Although they shall be within sight of one another, the guilty one would fain ransom himself from the torment of that day by offering his children,
وصاحبته وأخيه.
and his spouse, and his brother,
وفصيلته التي تؤويه.
and his kinsfolk who had stood by him,
ومن في الأرض جميعا ثم ينجيه.
and all persons of the earth, if only he could thus save himself.
كلا إنها لظى.
By no means it will be the fierce flame
نزاعة للشوى.
that will strip off the scalp,
تدعو من أدبر وتولى.
It shall insistently summon him who turned his back and retreated,
وجمع فأوعى.
and amassed wealth and covetously hoarded it.
إن الإنسان خلق هلوعا.
Verily, man is impatient by nature,
إذا مسه الشر جزوعا.
bewailing when evil befalls him,
وإذا مسه الخير منوعا.
and tight-fisted when good fortune visits him.
إلا المصلين.
Except those that pray,
الذين هم على صلاتهم دائمون.
and are constant in their prayer,
والذين في أموالهم حق معلوم.
and those in whose wealth there is a known right,
للسائل والمحروم.
for those that ask and those that are dispossessed,
والذين يصدقون بيوم الدين.
those who firmly believe in the day of recompense,
والذين هم من عذاب ربهم مشفقون.
and fear the chastisement of their Lord.
إن عذاب ربهم غير مأمون.
Surely the chastisement of their Lord is a thing none can feel secure from.
والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون.
And those who guard their private parts,
إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين.
except in regard to their spouses and those whom their right hands possess, for in regard to them they are not reproachable.
فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون.
But any who seeks to go beyond that it is indeed they who are the transgressors.
والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون.
And those who fulfill their trusts and their covenants.
والذين هم بشهاداتهم قائمون.
And those who are upright in their testimonies.
والذين هم على صلاتهم يحافظون.
And who take due care of their prayer.
أولئك في جنات مكرمون.
All these shall live honorably in the gardens.
فما للذين كفروا قبلك مهطعين.
But what is the matter with the unbelievers who are hurrying towards you?
عن اليمين وعن الشمال عزين.
In crowds, both on the right and on the left.
أيطمع كل امرئ منهم أن يدخل جنة نعيم.
Does every one of them wish to enter the garden of bliss?
كلا إنا خلقناهم مما يعلمون.
By no means. They know that which we have created them from.
فلا أقسم برب المشارق والمغارب إنا لقادرون.
I swear by the Lord of the Easts and the Wests that we have the power
على أن نبدل خيرا منهم وما نحن بمسبوقين.
to replace them by others who would be better than they, and we shall certainly not be overpowered.
فذرهم يخوضوا ويلعبوا حتى يلاقوا يومهم الذي يوعدون.
So leave them to engage in vain talk and to amuse themselves until they come face to face with the day which they are promised.
يوم يخرجون من الأجداث سراعا كأنهم إلى نصب يوفضون.
The day on which they will hastily come forth from their graves as though they were hurrying on to the altars of their deities.
خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون.
Their eyes will be downcast and disgrace will overwhelm them. Such is the day that they were promised.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
إنا أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه أن أنذر قومك من قبل أن يأتيهم عذاب أليم.
We sent Noah to his people and directed him, warn your people before a grievous chastisement comes upon them.
قال يا قوم إني لكم نذير مبين.
Noah said, my people, I have certainly been sent as a clear warner to you.
أن اعبدوا الله واتقوه وأطيعون.
That you serve Allah and fear Him and follow me.
يغفر لكم من ذنوبكم ويؤخركم إلى أجل مسمى إن أجل الله إذا جاء لا يؤخر لو كنتم تعلمون.
He will forgive your sins and will grant you respite until an appointed term. Indeed, when Allah's appointed term comes, it cannot be deferred if you only knew.
قال رب إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا.
He said, my Lord, I called my people by night and by day.
فلم يزدهم دعائي إلا فرارا.
But the more I called, the farther they fled.
وإني كلما دعوتهم لتغفر لهم جعلوا أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم وأصروا واستكبروا استكبارا.
And every time I called them so that you might forgive them, they thrust their fingers into their ears and wrapped up their faces with their garments and obstinately clung to their attitude and waxed very proud.
ثم إني دعوتهم جهارا.
Then I summoned them openly.
ثم إني أعلنت لهم وأسررت لهم إسرارا.
And preached to them in public and also addressed them in secret.
فقلت استغفروا ربكم إنه كان غفارا.
I said to them, ask forgiveness from your Lord. Surely He is most forgiving.
يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا.
He will shower upon you torrents from heaven.
ويمددكم بأموال وبنين ويجعل لكم جنات ويجعل لكم أنهارا.
And will provide you with wealth and children, and will bestow upon you gardens and rivers.
ما لكم لا ترجون لله وقارا.
What is amiss with you that you do not look forward to the majesty of Allah?
وقد خلقكم أطوارا.
When He has created you in stages.
ألم تروا كيف خلق الله سبع سماوات طباقا.
Do you not see how Allah has created 7 heavens, one upon the other?
وجعل القمر فيهن نورا وجعل الشمس سراجا.
And has placed the moon in them as a light and the sun as a radiant lamp.
والله أنبتكم من الأرض نباتا.
And Allah has caused you to grow out of the earth so wondrously.
ثم يعيدكم فيها ويخرجكم إخراجا.
And He will later cause you to return to it and will then again bring you out of it.
والله جعل لكم الأرض بساطا.
Allah has made the earth a wide expanse for you.
لتسلكوا منها سبلا فجاجا.
So that you may tread its spacious paths.
قال نوح رب إنهم عصوني واتبعوا من لم يزده ماله وولده إلا خسارا.
Noah said, My Lord, they did not pay heed to what I said, and followed those nobles whose possession of wealth and children has led them to an even greater loss.
ومكروا مكرا كبارا.
They contrived a plot of great magnitude.
وقالوا لا تذرن آلهتكم ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا.
They said, Do not abandon your deities, do not abandon Wad, nor Suwa, nor Yagut, nor Ya'uq, nor Nasr.
وقد أضلوا كثيرا ولا تزد الظالمين إلا ضلالا.
They have misled many, so do not enable these evildoers to increase in anything except straying from the right way.
مما خطيئاتهم أغرقوا فأدخلوا نارا فلم يجدوا لهم من دون الله أنصارا.
And so they were drowned on account of their sins and then cast into the fire and did not find any other than Allah to come forth to their help.
وقال نوح رب لا تذر على الأرض من الكافرين ديارا.
Noah said, My Lord, do not leave out of these unbelievers even a single dweller on earth.
إنك إن تذرهم يضلوا عبادك ولا يلدوا إلا فاجرا كفارا.
For certainly, if you should leave them alive, they will mislead your servants and will beget none but sinners and utter unbelievers.
رب اغفر لي ولوالدي ولمن دخل بيتي مؤمنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات ولا تزد الظالمين إلا تبارا.
My Lord, forgive me and my parents and whoever enters my house as a believer, and forgive all believers, both men and women, and do not increase the wrongdoers in anything except perdition.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
قل أوحي إلي أنه استمع نفر من الجن فقالوا إنا سمعنا قرآنا عجبا.
Say, O Prophet, it was revealed to me that a band of jinn attentively listened to the recitation of the Quran and then went back to their people and said,
يهدي إلى الرشد فآمنا به ولن نشرك بربنا أحدا.
We have indeed heard a wonderful Quran which guides to the right way, so we have come to believe in it, and we will not associate aught with our Lord in His divinity.
وأنه تعالى جد ربنا ما اتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا.
And that He, exalted be His Majesty, has not taken to Himself either a wife or a son.
وأنه كان يقول سفيهنا على الله شططا.
And that the foolish among us have been wont to say outrageous things about Allah.
وَأَنَّا ظَنَنَّا أَن لَّن تَقُولَ الْإِنسُ وَالْجِنُّ عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا.
And that we had thought that men and jinn would never speak a lie about Allah.
وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِّنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِّنَ الْجِنِّ فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا.
And that some from among the humans used to seek protection of some among the jinn, and thus they increased the arrogance of the jinn.
وأنهم ظنوا كما ظننتم أن لن يبعث الله أحدا.
And that they thought even as you thought, that Allah would never raise anyone as a messenger.
وأنا لمسنا السماء فوجدناها ملئت حرسا شديدا وشهبا.
And that we tried to pry the secrets of the heaven, but we found it full of terrible gods and shooting meteors.
وَأَنَّا كُنَّا نَقْعُدُ مِنْهَا مَقَاعِدَ لِلسَّمْعِ فَمَنْ يَسْتَمِعِ الْآنَ يَجِدْ لَهُ شِهَابًا رَصَدًا.
And that we would take up stations in the heaven to try to hear, but anyone who now attempts to listen finds a shooting meteor in wait for him.
وَأَنَّا لَا نَدْرِي أَشَرٌّ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ أَرَادَ بِهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ رَشَدًا.
and that we do not know whether evil is intended for those on the earth or whether their Lord intends to direct them to the right way.
وَأَنَّا مِنَّا الصَّالِحُونَ وَمِنَّا دُونَ ذَلِكَ كُنَّا طَرَائِقَ قِدَدًا.
And that some of us are upright and some of us are otherwise, for we follow widely divergent paths.
وَأَنَّا ظَنَنَّا أَن لَّن نُّعْجِزَ اللَّهَ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَن نُّعْجِزَهُ هَرَبًا.
And that we thought that we will neither be able to frustrate Allah on earth nor frustrate Him by flight.
وَأَنَّا لَمَّا سَمِعْنَا الْهُدَىٰ آمَنَّا بِهِ فَمَن يُؤْمِن بِرَبِّهِ فَلَا يَخَافُ بَخْسًا وَلَا رَهَقًا.
And that when we heard the teaching of the right way, we came to believe in it. He who believes in his Lord shall have no fear of suffering loss or being subjected to any injustice.
وَأَنَّا مِنَّا الْمُسْلِمُونَ وَمِنَّا الْقَاسِطُونَ فَمَنْ أَسْلَمَ فَأُولَئِكَ تَحَرَّوْا رَشَدًا.
And that among us some are Muslims, those who have submitted to Allah, and some of us are deviant. So those who became Muslims found the right course.
وَأَمَّا الْقَاسِطُونَ فَكَانُوا لِجَهَنَّمَ حَطَبًا.
But those who deviated from the truth will be the fuel for hell.
وَأَن لَّوِ اسْتَقَامُوا عَلَى الطَّرِيقَةِ لَأَسْقَيْنَاهُم مَّاءً غَدَقًا.
If people were to keep firmly to the right way, we would have vouchsafed them abundant rain.
لِنَفْتِنَهُمْ فِيهِ وَمَن يُعْرِضْ عَن ذِكْرِ رَبِّهِ يَسْلُكْهُ عَذَابًا صَعَدًا.
So that we might try them through this bounty. Whoso turns away from the remembrance of his Lord, he will cause him to suffer a grievous chastisement.
وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا.
And that mosques belong to Allah, so do not invoke anyone with Him.
وَأَنَّهُ لَمَّا قَامَ عَبْدُ اللَّهِ يَدْعُوهُ كَادُوا يَكُونُونَ عَلَيْهِ لِبَدًا.
And when Allah's servants stood up to call on Him, they well nigh swarmed Him.
قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَدْعُو رَبِّي وَلَا أُشْرِكُ بِهِ أَحَدًا.
Say, O Prophet, I call on my Lord alone, and I do not associate aught with Him in His divinity.
قُلْ إِنِّي لَا أَمْلِكُ لَكُمْ ضَرًّا وَلَا رَشَدًا.
Say, surely neither it is in my power to hurt you nor to bring you to the right way.
قُلْ إِنِّي لَن يُجِيرَنِي مِنَ اللَّهِ أَحَدٌ وَلَنْ أَجِدَ مِن دُونِهِ مُلْتَحَدًا.
Say, none can protect me from Allah, nor can I find a refuge apart from Him.
إِلَّا بَلَاغًا مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرِسَالَاتِهِ وَمَن يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَإِنَّ له نار جهنم خالدين فيها أبدا.
My task is no more than to deliver Allah's proclamation and His messages, and whoever disobeys Allah and His messenger, surely the fire of hell awaits him. Therein he will abide in perpetuity.
حتى إذا رأوا ما يوعدون فسيعلمون من أضعف ناصرا وأقل عددا.
They shall not change their ways until they see that against which they had been warned, and then they will know whose helpers are weaker and whose supporters are fewer in number.
قل إن أدري أقريب ما توعدون أم يجعل له ربي أمدا.
Say, I know not whether what you are promised is near, or whether my Lord will prolong its term.
عالم الغيب فلا يظهر على غيبه أحدا.
He is the knower of the unseen, and he does not disclose his unseen to anyone.
إلا من ارتضى من رسول فإنه يسلك من بين يديه ومن خلفه رصدا.
Other than to a messenger whom he chooses for the bestowal of any part of the knowledge of the unseen, whereafter he appoints guards who go before him and behind him.
ليعلم أن قد أبلغوا رسالات ربهم وأحاط بما لديهم وأحصى كل شيء عددا.
So that he may know that they have delivered the messages of their Lord. He encompasses in his knowledge their surroundings and keeps account of all things.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
يا أيها المزمل.
O you, the sleeping, enwrapped one,
قم الليل إلا قليلا.
stand up in prayer by night, all but a small part of it.
نصفه أو انقص منه قليلا.
Half of it, or reduce it a little.
أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا.
Or add to it a little, and recite the Quran slowly and distinctly.
إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا.
Behold, we shall cast upon you a weighty word.
إن ناشئة الليل هي أشد وطئا وأقوم قيلا.
Surely, getting up at night is the best means of subduing the self and is more suitable for uprightness in speech.
إن لك في النهار سبحا طويلا.
You are indeed much occupied during the day with the affairs of the world.
واذكر اسم ربك وتبتل إليه تبتيلا.
So remember the name of your Lord and devote yourself to Him with exclusive devotion.
رب المشرق والمغرب لا إله إلا هو فاتخذه وكيلا.
He is the Lord of the East and the West. There is no God but He, so take Him alone for your guardian.
واصبر على ما يقولون واهجرهم هجرا جميلا.
And bear patiently the vain things they utter and gracefully forsake them.
وذرني والمكذبين أولي النعمة ومهلهم قليلا.
Leave it to me to deal with the affluent ones who give the lie to the truth, and bear with them for a while.
إن لدينا أنكالا وجحيما.
We have heavy fetters and a blazing fire in store for them.
وطعاما ذا غصة وعذابا أليما.
And a food that chokes and a grievous chastisement.
يوم ترجف الأرض والجبال وكانت الجبال كثيبا مهيلا.
They will come across all this on the day when the earth and the mountains shall tremble violently, and the mountains shall crumble into heaps of scattered sand.
إنا أرسلنا إليكم رسولا شاهدا عليكم كما أرسلنا إلى فرعون رسولا.
Surely we have sent to you a messenger as a witness over you, just as we had sent a messenger to Pharaoh.
فعصى فرعون الرسول فأخذناه أخذا وبيلا.
But Pharaoh disobeyed our messenger, so we seized him with a terrible seizing.
فكيف تتقون إن كفرتم يوما يجعل الولدان شيبا.
If you persist in disbelieving, how will you guard yourself against the woe of the day that will turn children grey-haired?
السماء منفطر به كان وعده مفعولا.
The day whose severity shall cause the heaven to split asunder, Allah's promise is ever bound to be fulfilled.
إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا.
Indeed, this is nothing but a good counsel, so let him who will take away leading to his Lord.
إن ربك يعلم أنك تقوم أدنى من ثلثي الليل ونصفه وثلثه وطائفة من الذين معك والله يقدر الليل والنهار علم أن لن تحصوه فتاب عليكم فاقرؤوا ما تيسر من القرآن علم أن سيكون منكم مرضى وآخرون يضربون في الأرض يبتغون من فضل الله وآخرون يقاتلون في سبيل الله فاقرؤوا ما تيسر منه وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأقرضوا الله قرضا حسنا وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله هو خيرا وأعظم أجرا واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم.
O Prophet, your Lord knows that you sometimes stand up in prayer nearly 2/3 of the night, and sometimes half, or 1/3 of it, and so does a party of those with you. Allah measures the night and the day. He knows that you cannot keep an accurate count of it, so He has shown mercy to you. So now recite as much of the Quran as you can. He knows that there are among you those who are sick, and others who are journeying in the land in quest of Allah's bounty, and still others who are fighting in the cause of Allah. So recite as much of the Quran as you easily can, and establish prayer, and pay zakah, and give Allah a goodly loan. Whatever good you send forth for yourselves, you shall find it with Allah. That is better, and its reward is greater. And ask for Allah's forgiveness. Surely He is most forgiving, most compassionate.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
Ya ayyuhal muddaththir.
O you enveloped in your cloak,
Qum fa'anzir.
Arise and warn,
وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ.
and magnify the glory of your Lord,
وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ.
and purify your robes,
وَالرُّجْزَ فَاهْجُرْ
And shun uncleanness.
وَلَا تَمْنُن تَسْتَكْثِرْ
And bestow not favor in order to seek from others a greater return.
وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ
And persevere for your Lord's sake.
فَإِذَا نُقِرَ فِي النَّاقُورِ
When the trumpet shall be sounded,
فَذَلِكَ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَوْمٌ عَسِيرٌ
that will surely be a hard day.
عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ غَيْرُ يَسِيرٌ
Not an easy day for the unbelievers.
ذَرْنِي وَمَنْ خَلَقْتُ وَحِيدًا
Leave me with him whom I alone have created,
وَجَعَلْتُ لَهُ مَالًا مَمْدُودًا
whom I have endowed with abundant riches,
وَبَنِينَ شُهُودًا
and sons ever present with him,
وَمَهَّدتُّ لَهُ تَمْهِيدًا
and for whom I have smoothed the way to power and riches,
ثُمَّ يَطْمَعُ أَنْ أَزِيدَ
and who still greedily desires that I should bestow upon him more?
كَلَّا إِنَّهُ كَانَ لِآيَاتِنَا عَنِيدًا
By no means, he is stubbornly opposed to our signs.
سَأُرْهِقُهُ صَعُودًا
I shall soon constrain him to a hard ascent.
إِنَّهُ فَكَّرَ وَقَدَّرَ
He reflected and then hatched a scheme.
فَقُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ
Ruin seize him. How did he hatch a scheme?
ثُمَّ قُتِلَ كَيْفَ قَدَّرَ
Again, ruin seize him. How did he hatch a scheme?
ثُمَّ نَظَرَ
He looked at others.
ثُمَّ عَبَسَ وَبَسَرَ
Then frowned and scowled.
ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ وَاسْتَكْبَرَ
Then he retreated and waxed proud.
فَقَالَ إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا سِحْرٌ يُؤْثَرُ
And said, This Quran is merely a sorcery of yore.
إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا قَوْلُ الْبَشَرِ
This is nothing but the word of a mere mortal.
سَأُصْلِيهِ سَقَرَ
Him shall I soon roast in hell.
وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا سَقَرَ
And what do you know what hell is?
لَا تُبْقِي وَلَا تَذَرُ
It spares nothing. It leaves nothing intact.
لَوَّاحَةٌ لِلْبَشَرِ
It scorches even the skin.
عَلَيْهَا 19
Over it are 19 keepers.
وَمَا جَعَلْنَا أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ إِلَّا مَلَائِكَةً وَمَا جَعَلْنَا عِدَّتَهُمْ إِلَّا فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لِيَسْتَيْقِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ وَيَزْدَادَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِيمَانًا وَلَا يَرْتَابَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَلِيَقُولَ الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِم مَّرَضٌ وَالْكَافِرُونَ مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثَلًا كَذَلِكَ يُضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُوَ وَمَا هِيَ إِلَّا ذِكْرَى لِلْبَشَرِ
We have appointed none but angels as the keepers of the fire, and we have not made their number but as a trial for the unbelievers, so that those who have been endowed with the book will be convinced, and the believers' faith will increase. And neither those who have been endowed with the book nor the believers will fall into any doubt. As for those in whose hearts there is a sickness, as well as the unbelievers, they will say, "What did Allah aim at by this strange parable?" Thus does Allah let whomsoever He pleases to go astray, and directs whomsoever He pleases to the right way. And none knows the hosts of your Lord but He. And hell has only been mentioned here that people may take heed.
كلا والقمر
Nay, by the moon,
والليل إذ أدبر
and by the night when it recedes,
والصبح إذا أسفر
and by the day when it dawns with its radiance.
إنها لإحدى الكبر
Surely hell is one of the greatest signs,
نذيرا للبشر
a warning to humankind.
لمن شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر
A warning to every one of you, whether he would like to come forward or lag behind.
كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة
Each one is a hostage to one's deeds,
إلا أصحاب اليمين
save the people of the right hand,
في جنات يتساءلون
who shall be in the gardens and shall ask
عن المجرمين
about the guilty ones.
ما سلككم في سقر
What drove you to hell?
قالوا لم نك من المصلين
They will answer, we were not among those who observed prayer,
ولم نك نطعم المسكين
and we did not feed the poor,
وكنا نخوض مع الخائضين
and we indulged in vain talk with those who indulged in vain talk.
وكنا نكذب بيوم الدين
And we gave the lie to the day of judgment,
حتى أتانا اليقين
until the inevitable event overtook us.
فما تنفعهم شفاعة الشافعين
The intercession of the intercessors shall then be of no avail to them.
فما لهم عن التذكرة معرضين
What is the matter with people that they are turning away from this exhortation?
كأنهم حمر مستنفرة
As though they were frightened wild asses,
فرت من قسورة
fleeing from a lion.
بل يريد كل امرئ منهم أن يؤتى صحفا منشرة
No, indeed, each one of them desires that open letters be sent to each of them.
كلا بل لا يخافون الآخرة
No, indeed, the truth is that they have no fear of the hereafter.
كلا إنه تذكرة
Nay, this is an exhortation.
فمن شاء ذكره
So whoever wills may benefit from it.
وما يذكرون إلا أن يشاء الله هو أهل التقوى وأهل المغفرة
but they will not benefit from it unless Allah Himself so wills. He is worthy to be feared, and He is worthy to forgive those that fear Him.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
La uqsimu biyawmil qiyamah.
Nay, I swear by the day of resurrection.
ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة.
And nay, I swear by the self-reproaching soul.
أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه.
Does man imagine that we will not be able to bring his bones together again?
بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه.
Yes, indeed, we have the power to remold even his fingertips.
بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه.
But man desires to persist in his evil ways.
يسأل أيان يوم القيامة.
He asks, when will the day of resurrection be?
فإذا برق البصر.
When the sight is dazed.
وخسف القمر.
And the moon is eclipsed.
وجمع الشمس والقمر.
And the sun and the moon are joined together.
يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر.
On that day will man say, whither the refuge?
كلا لا وزر.
No, there's no refuge.
إلى ربك يومئذ المستقر.
With your Lord alone will be the retreat that day.
ينبأ الإنسان يومئذ بما قدم وأخر.
On that day will man be apprised of his deeds, both the earlier and the later.
بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة.
But lo, man is well aware of himself.
ولو ألقى معاذيره.
Even though he might make up excuses.
لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به.
O Prophet, do not stir your tongue hastily to commit the revelation to memory.
إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه.
Surely it is for us to have you commit it to memory and to recite it.
فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه.
And so when we recite it, follow its recitation attentively.
ثم إن علينا بيانه.
Then it will be for us to explain it.
كلا بل تحبون العاجلة.
Nay, the truth is that you love ardently the good of this world that can be obtained hastily.
وتذرون الآخرة.
And are oblivious of the hereafter.
وجوه يومئذ ناظرة.
Some faces on that day will be fresh and resplendent.
إلى ربها ناظرة.
And will be looking towards their Lord.
ووجوه يومئذ باسرة.
And some faces on that day will be gloomy.
تظن أن يفعل بها فاقرة.
Believing that a crushing calamity is about to strike them.
كلا إذا بلغت التراقي.
Nay, when a man's soul reaches up to the throat.
وقيل من راق.
And it is said, is there any enchanter who can step forward in help by his chanting?
وظن أنه الفراق.
And he realizes that the hour of parting has come.
والتفت الساق بالساق.
And calf is intertwined with calf.
إلى ربك يومئذ المساق.
On that day you'll be driven to your Lord.
فلا صدق ولا صلى.
But he did not verify the truth, nor did he observe prayer.
ولكن كذب وتولى.
On the contrary, he gave the lie to the truth and turned his back upon it.
ثم ذهب إلى أهله يتمطى.
Then he went back to his kinsfolk, elated with pride.
أولى لك فأولى.
This attitude is worthy of you, altogether worthy.
ثم أولى لك فأولى.
Again, it is worthy of you, altogether worthy.
أيحسب الإنسان أن يترك سدى.
Does man think that he will be left alone unquestioned?
ألم يكن نطفة من مني يمنى.
Was he not a drop of ejaculated semen?
ثم كان علقة فخلق فسوى.
Then he became a clot, and then Allah made it into a living body and proportioned its parts.
فجعل منه الزوجين الذكر والأنثى.
And then he made of him a pair, male and female.
أليس ذلك بقادر على أن يحيي الموتى.
Does he then not have the power to bring back the dead to life?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا.
Was there a period of time when man was not even worthy of a mention?
إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا.
Verily, we created man out of a drop of intermingled sperm, so that we might try him, and we therefore endowed him with hearing and sight.
إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا.
Surely, we showed him the right path, regardless of whether he chooses to be thankful or unthankful to his Lord.
إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا.
For the unbelievers, we have kept ready chains and fetters and a blazing fire.
إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا.
The virtuous shall drink from a cup tempered with camphor water.
عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا.
This will be a gushing spring, wherefrom Allah's servants shall drink wine, a spring from which they will take out channels wherever they wish.
يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا.
These will be the ones who fulfill their vows and dread the day whose woe shall be spread far and wide.
ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا.
Those who for the love of him feed the needy and the orphan and the captive.
إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا.
Saying, we feed you only for Allah's sake. We do not seek of you any recompense or thanks.
إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا.
We fear from our Lord a day that shall be long and distressful.
فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا.
So Allah shall guard them against the woe of that day and will procure them freshness and joy.
وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا.
And will reward them for their steadfastness with paradise and robes of silk.
متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا.
There they will recline on elevated couches and will be subjected neither to the burning heat of the sun nor to bitter cold.
ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا.
The shades of paradise will bend over them, and its fruits will be brought within their easy reach.
ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قواريرا.
And there shall be passed around them vessels of silver and goblets of crystal.
قوارير من فضة قدروها تقديرا.
Goblets, bright as crystal, but made of silver, filled to exact measure.
ويسقون فيها كأسا كان مزاجها زنجبيلا.
Therein they shall be served a cup flavored with ginger.
عينا فيها تسمى سلسبيلا.
Drawn from a spring in paradise called Salsabil.
ويطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون إذا رأيتهم حسبتهم لؤلؤا منثورا.
Their boys of everlasting youth shall go about attending them. When you see them, you will think that they are scattered pearls.
وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا.
Whitherto you look around, you will see an abundance of bliss and the glories of a great kingdom.
عاليهم ثياب سندس خضر واستبرق وحلوا أساور من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا.
They, that is the virtuous, shall be attired in garments of fine green silk and rich brocade, and will be adorned with bracelets of silver. Their Lord will give them a pure wine to drink.
إن هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا.
Behold, this is your recompense, and your endeavor has been appreciated.
إنا نحن نزلنا عليك القرآن تنزيلا.
O Prophet, Indeed, we have revealed the Quran to you in portions.
فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تطع منهم آثما أو كفورا.
So persevere with the command of your Lord, and do not pay any heed to the wicked and the unbelieving.
واذكر اسم ربك بكرة وأصيلا.
And remember the name of your Lord morning and evening.
ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا.
And prostrate yourself before him at night, and extol his glory during the long watches of the night.
إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا.
Verily, they love the good of this world that is hastily obtainable, and are oblivious of the burdensome day ahead of them.
نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا.
We created them and strengthened their joints, and whenever we wish, we can change their faces entirely.
إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا.
Verily, this is an exhortation, so let him whoso will take away to his Lord.
وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما.
But your willing shall be of no avail until Allah himself so wills. Surely Allah is all-knowing, most wise.
يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما.
He admits to his mercy whomsoever he pleases. As for the wrongdoers, he has prepared for them a grievous chastisement.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
والمرسلات عرفا.
By the wind sent forth in quick succession,
فالعاصفات عصفا.
which then blow tempestuously,
والناشرات نشرا.
and raise clouds and scatter them around,
فالفارقات فرقا.
then winnow them thoroughly,
فالملقيات ذكرا.
and then cast Allah's remembrance in people's hearts,
عذرا أو نذرا.
to serve as an excuse or a warning.
إنما توعدون لواقع.
Surely what you are promised shall come to pass.
فإذا النجوم طمست.
So when the stars are extinguished,
وإذا السماء فرجت.
and the sky is rent asunder,
وإذا الجبال نصفت.
and the mountains are blown away,
وإذا الرسل أقتت.
and the appointed time to bring the messengers together arrives, then shall the promised event come to pass.
لأي يوم أجلت.
To which day has this task been deferred?
ليوم الفصل.
To the day of judgment.
وما أدراك ما يوم الفصل.
What do you know what the day of judgment is?
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
ألم نهلك الأولين
Did we not destroy many a nation of the earlier times,
ثم نتبعهم الآخرين
and we shall cause those of later times to follow them?
كذلك نفعل بالمجرمين
Thus do we deal with the guilty.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
ألم نخلقكم من ماء مهين
Did we not create you of a mean fluid,
فجعلناه في قرار مكين
which we then placed in a secure repository,
إلى قدر معلوم
until an appointed time?
فقدرنا فنعم القادرون
See that we have the power to do so. Great indeed is our power to do what we will.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
ألم نجعل الأرض كفاتا
Did we not make the earth a receptacle
أحياء وأمواتا
for the living and the dead,
وجعلنا فيها رواسي شامخات وأسقيناكم ماء فراتا
and did we not firmly fix towering mountains on it and give you sweet water to drink?
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
انطلقوا إلى ما كنتم به تكذبون
Proceed now towards that which you were wont to deny as false.
انطلقوا إلى ظل ذي ثلاث شعب
Proceed towards the three-pronged shadow,
لا ظليل ولا يغني من اللهب
which neither provides cooling shade nor protection against the flames.
إنها ترمي بشرر كالقصر
It indeed throws up sparks like castles,
كأنه جمالة صفر
which seem as though they are yellow-colored camels.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
هذا يوم لا ينطقون
That will be the day on which they will not be able to utter a word,
ولا يؤذن لهم فيعتذرون
nor will they be allowed to proffer excuses.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
هذا يوم الفصل جمعناكم والأولين
That is the day of judgment on which we have assembled you, as well as all those who went before you.
فإن كان لكم كيد فكيدون
So, if you have any ploy, try it against me.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
إن المتقين في ظلال وعيون
Behold, today the God-fearing will be amidst shades and springs,
وفواكه مما يشتهون
and the fruits that they desire will be ready at hand.
كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما كنتم تعملون.
Eat and drink, and may every joy attend you as a reward for your deeds.
إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين.
Thus do we reward those that do good.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
كلوا وتمتعوا قليلا إنكم مجرمون.
Eat and enjoy yourselves for a while. Surely you are evildoers.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
وإذا قيل لهم اركعوا لا يركعون.
When it is said to them, bow down before Allah, they do not bow down.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Woe on that day to those that give the lie to the truth.
فبأي حديث بعده يؤمنون.
In what discourse after this Quran will they then believe?